What's up, guys? Welcome to another music theory lesson. Today we're talking about triads. All a triad is a fancy word for a three-note chord, right? We have the word tri in here. So tri always stands for three. Triad is going to be a three-note chord. You've probably already played a lot of triads in your life. You already know what they sound like. But we're going to cover how to create triads, all the different kinds of qualities that we can have in a triad, major, minor, augmented, diminished. We're going to cover diatonic triad. We're going to learn how to build really cool chord progressions using triads. So let's just take a look at the most basic formula for kind of creating a triad. So there's a pretty basic formula for constructing a triad. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our root note here, in this case is F, and we're going to stack thirds on top of F. So triads are always created by starting with a root note, and the building blocks is going to be a third above that note, and then the second pitch is going to be a third above the second pitch. So I'm just going to go here, I'm going to go up a third, I'm going to go up another third. So when we look at a triad, what we can say is okay, a triad is built up of a third followed by another third, right? Now, if you wanted to say from the root of the chord, I could say to build a triad, I go from my root note, I go up a third, and then from the root again, I go up a fifth. So we have two formulas now. We have the root to the third, and then the third on top of another third. Or we can think from the root up a third, from the root up a fifth. We're gonna get the same answer when we do both ways like this. So when we're working on constructing triads, it's important to know that there are four different chord qualities of triads. A triad could be major, minor, augmented, or diminished. So we have four different qualities that we can generate. Now, each different quality, major, minor, augmented, or diminished, has its own unique formula for creating our triads. So let's start with major. Let's look at our major triad formula. So the formula for a major triad is going to be building off of the root, we're going to do a major third, and then also building off the root, we're going to go a perfect fifth. This formula will generate a major triad. So let's put it to the test. Let me put down a C here. We're going to do a C major triad. Now, a few things you can do to jump the gun if you want to just say, okay, I want to put my basic triad down. If we always know a triad is just going to be thirds stacked on top of each other, I can put my two thirds down, right? So I have C, E, G. Now that I have my basic fundamental skeleton, I can go back and check my two intervals. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say, okay, first I need a major third. Do I need to put any accidentals? Do I need to make this an E flat? Do I need to make this an E sharp? Or is E natural a major third? Well, let's look. I know we just went over our intervals, so if I maybe look at the piano, I want to double check and I say, major third I know is 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my major third, E. Great. So boom, this checks out, all good. Here's my major third. Now same thing, I'm going to go from here, C to G, I need a perfect fifth. So instead of going to the piano here, I can use a different way to solve this problem. I can just think diatonically, my C major scale, is there a G natural, is there a G sharp, is there a G flat? Well, there's a G natural, so I know that this is going to be a perfect fifth. That fits in my scale, all good sounding here. Now another thing to note about the major chord is the way it sounds, right? All these chords that we're going to be looking at today are going to have different unique qualities. So a major chord is built of a major third and a perfect fifth. Major third, perfect fifth. So when we play those notes together, we get this kind of big, cheery, happy sound, right? Major chords are always associated with a happy, positive, uplifting sound. So that's important to note, right? Let's just put a little smiley face. Major chords sound happy, right? Now, let's move on to minor chords, okay? So minor chords, as we know right off the bat, are going to be a little bit different than major. So now let's look at our secret formula for minor. We're going to have, from the root, a minor third and a perfect fifth. So if you notice from major, it's almost the same, minus the minor third, right? We had a major third in our major triad, now minor third in our minor triad. Let's put our C chord down. Again, I am just going to draw out my thirds here first. I know I have some kind of C, some kind of E, and some kind of G. So here's my basic skeleton of my triad. Now let me go back and check it with my intervals. So C to E, well, we just did it up here, right? We said that's a major third. And I know when I want to make a minor third, I make my major third smaller by 1/2 step. Now, I can't, in this case, change the root to C sharp to make it smaller, right? Because I'm saying I want a C minor chord here. So the only other way of accomplishing this is to make the E lower by 1/2 step, making it an E flat, okay? So now we have, here we go, we have a minor third from the root, and we need a perfect fifth from the root as well, and we just went over it up here, C to G, boom, is our perfect fifth. So here's our C minor chord. Now, something important to note about minor chords is, stereotypically, you probably already know this, they're gonna sound a little sad, a little more dark. So I'm gonna go root, minor third, right? And root, fifth. So here's my completed minor triad. Now they sound a lot darker, right? A lot more sinister. So let's put a little sad, maybe a serious, sad kind of face under minor, right? Minor is gonna give us that emotional response of kind of being a little bit darker. Okay, now let's take a look at augmented and diminished, our remaining two chord quality types, right? So we're going to take a look at diminished first. So our secret formula for diminished is going to be a minor third followed by a diminished fifth from the root. So I'll go back here, I'll put my C down, right? And our chord we're finding here is a C diminished. This is this kind of symbol for diminished. You can also write C dim, D-I-M, to indicate diminished, but we're going to stick with this for now. It's more traditional. So, putting down our skeleton first, I know my triads are going to be built on thirds, so let me put my thirds down. And now I have to go back and correct my two intervals. First, let's look at the minor third, right? Well, we just did this with minor. We said C to E, I know in the major scale, is a major third. To make that smaller by 1/2 step, I could either raise the root up 1/2 step, but then this would make this C sharp, and that changes my chord altogether. So we need to lower the third to E flat. That gives us a minor third. So here we go. Boom. Happy old minor third interval there. Now, we need to find our diminished fifth, right? So diminished fifth happens by taking our fifth and either raising the root or lowering the fifth, right? We're making it smaller by 1/2 step. Again, we can't touch the root because that's going to change our original chord here from C to C sharp, so that's no good. So we have to go ahead and lower the fifth by 1/2 step. So I'm going to make that G flat. So this gives us a minor third and a diminished fifth, which gives us our C diminished triad. And this is going to be the darkest of sounds, extreme tension. We have our minor third followed by our diminished fifth. Right here is our perfect fifth, lowered by 1/2 step. Here's our major third, lowered by 1/2 step. So this is our diminished chord. Very dark sounding, very evil sounding. Probably the most tension that you can get in a triad right here. Very intense sounding. Now, last but not least, we are going to have our augmented triads. So the secret formula for augmented triad is going to be, we're going back to our major third. So we're going to have a major third from the root, and then we're going to have, you guessed it, an augmented fifth from the root. So, start again here. Let's just put our skeleton down. We know it's some kind of C, some kind of E, some kind of G, right? There's our triad skeleton. The chord we're working with is a C augmented, and let's not forget the plus sign is always indicating the augmented chord quality. So, I need a major third first. Well, we know very well by now, C to E is going to be our major third, right? E is a part of the C major scale, and we're all good there. Now, we need an augmented fifth to complete it. So I'm going to look C to G. Well, I know that this is a perfect fifth, C to G. And what is augmented again? Augmented means we're creating an interval that's going to be a 1/2 step larger than a perfect interval. So again, what could I do? I could make this C flat to G, that would be an augmented fifth, but then we're changing our original chord quality here, which is we don't want to do, right? We want it to be a C augmented. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the G by a half step instead to make this 1 half step larger, and this will give me my augmented fifth, delivering us our C augmented. So augmented chords are also going to sound pretty tense. We have, here we go, our major third followed by our augmented fifth, giving us an augmented triad. Now the sound is a little kind of ominous and dark and suspicious. It's almost like Dracula walks into the room and stares you in the eyes from across the bar, right? So another cool way of creating tension is by using augmented chords. All right, guys, well, this sums up the first part of our triad lessons. I hope you enjoyed identifying and creating the 4 different types of triads. We have major, we have minor, we have augmented, and we have diminished. So I hope you guys loved that. Use the homework assignments that I have attached to this video to practice, and I love music theory, and I know you do too. And today my hearts kind of look like a hot dog bun or something, or a butterfly. Anyways, hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you later.